Welcome back to The Art of Violence. We're filming in a park today with a lot of wind, a lot of kids running around, but it is what it is. I gotta hold the microphone like this, just to block out the wind. So if it looks weird that I have my hand here, it is what it is. But we have breaking news. Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Alexander Volkanovski in a rematch because Charles Oliveira just pulled out of the fight. Now, Charles Oliveira apparently injured himself during, apparently it was like the last round of the training camp before he was about to fly out. And someone kneed him, punched him, did something, and apparently created a huge cut right at his eyebrow, and apparently opened it up pretty bad. And yeah, he's out. He doesn't want to risk it. And I gotta say, I understand where it's coming from. If it's really that bad and it's really that deep, and the fight could be stopped if it opens up, then yeah, I don't blame him. These are important fights, and they can affect your career for the rest of your life. So I don't blame him. And we get Alexander Volkanovski versus Islam number 2. So, I mean, this is a win-win for everyone. This is a win for the fans. This is a win for Islam to prove he's the best in the world by beating the guy who a lot of people think either brought him to a draw or beat him, which is Alexander Volkanovski. And Alexander also gets to prove that the first fight was a fluke, coming in on, or that he won the first fight. I believe Alexander's coming in on, I think it's like 11 days notice. I think it's less than 2 weeks, which is pretty crazy. I mean, the fact that he's feels that confident and, wants the rematch that bad. I mean, the dude's a gamer. The dude is a gamer if he's willing to take a fight on that short a notice. Probably the most important fight of his career. Absolutely exceptional. Alexander Volkanovski is a warrior through and through. So I guess we could talk about how this fight's going to go, or early predictions, things like that. It's going to be interesting because, you're preparing for a completely different fighter, a completely different size fighter. I mean, Alexander Volkanovski is like 5'4", 5'3". Charles Oliveira is, I believe, like 5'10", 5'11". So it's like a completely different size, completely different height. To be honest, Charles and Volkanovski probably weigh similar. Got the wind's kicking up here. Hopefully it's not too bad. But they probably weigh similar. But, the height is going to be a real... It's going to be a real game changer. It's going to be something that Islam's going to have to really prepare for. Obviously, he's dealt with this before, but he's going to have to adjust a lot of things. Not only that, the game plan. I mean, if Charles Oliveira is fighting normally, and I've said this many times, he did not fight to his capabilities the last fight he had with Islam Makhachev. He underestimated Islam. He thought he was just going to be able to go in there and take him out with a couple of strikes and have a viral knockout just like he did with Chandler and Poirier and Justin Gaethje, and that just wasn't the case. If we're being honest, he completely underestimated Islam Makhachev and paid the ultimate price for it. Charles Oliveira, fighting to his fullest capability, is a guy who uses and implements long-range weapons really well. His teeps, his jabs, his front kicks, his straights. When you come on the inside, he clinches you, he grabs you, doesn't let you get shots off on him. If you knock him down, he just sits there on his back and waits for you to come in because his jiu-jitsu is so good. Something he cannot do with Islam in the rematch because that's how he lost, because Islam, is probably better than Charles on the ground. Some of the best guys in the world. But, Charles will kind of let you take him down, or at least probably doesn't have the best takedown defense compared to Alexander Volkanovski. Wind's picking up. But now he's facing a guy who's much shorter, who has much better takedown defense, and probably has a better ability, in a sense, to be able to get back to his feet. A guy who he really couldn't hold down. A guy who has... Charles definitely has power and he puts people away, but a guy who has arguably the same amount of power, or maybe even a little more, who's, I would say, a more intelligent striker who moves better. He's going to have to deal with the movement of Alexander Volkanovski, the feints, the tricky entries and exits. It's going to be a completely different fight in many ways. So it'll be very interesting to see how Islam adjusts to Alexander Volkanovski, and if that gives Alexander any sort of advantage. Now, Alexander is coming in on like less than 2 week notice, so clearly that's going to give Islam Makhachev some sort of an advantage as well, because it's such a short time to prepare. What we hear is that the guys from City Kickboxing are basically down to fight whenever and wherever. So meaning they're always in shape, they're always ready, and they're never like going on vacation or straying away too far from the fight game, which is a good thing. That's what champions should do. So I would assume, I would assume Alexander's ran through this multiple times in his head as to how he wants to beat Islam, and I'm sure that he's thought this over with his team time and time again, and he is probably going to be able to come in there with the right game plan, make adjustments, and do what he has to do. But it's just going to be so interesting, man. I mean, this is the biggest fight of both of their careers, one of the biggest fights, I would say, in many ways in UFC history. I think Islam's will be one of the greatest lightweights of all time if he wins. I think if Alexander Volkanovski beats Islam, now he's the double champ. Now he has to bounce back and forth and defend both divisions. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he's going to be able to adjust to that. And if he can beat Islam, especially if he can finish him, knock him out, do whatever he needs to do, and he can do it definitively, I don't see anyone really being able to deal with Alexander. I don't see anyone besides Islam really being able to beat him if Alexander can beat him definitively. Maybe Charles would give him some trouble, but other than that, I think he would pretty much smoke everyone if he proves that he truly is better than Islam Makhachev and makes the right adjustments. Now, that would probably force a trilogy, but, it'll be interesting to see. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Wind's kicking up again. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win? How do you think this fight's going to go? Do you think Islam's going to pull it off? Do you think Alexander's going to pull it off? This is crazy. I mean, this is beautiful for the fight fans, because, I mean, this was either way. This is a rematch. Islam, definitively beat Charles Oliveira, and many people think Alexander Volkanovski brought Islam to a draw, or that Alexander Volkanovski should have won. So this is another rematch that gets to be rectified. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So I'm super pumped. If I had to lean in a direction, if Alex can make the right adjustments, and he cannot I think what happened in the first fight is that Alex underestimated Islam in the striking, and I think Islam underestimated Alex on the ground and in jiu-jitsu. I don't think he had any idea that Alex was going to be as difficult to take down as he was, and I don't think he had any sort of concept that Alex was going to be able to stand up as easily as he did and prevent Islam from submitting him and really doing anything on the ground. There was a point where he had his back, and Islam couldn't submit Alex. Alex couldn't get out of it. I think Craig Jones has been a big addition to Alexander Volkanovski's camp. I'm sure they've been working like crazy. I'm sure Alex has been obsessing over the fact that, Islam had his back for several minutes, and, neither of them could really do anything, but he specifically couldn't get out. That must have been so frustrating for him. I'm sure he's been working on that with Craig. I think if Alexander Volkanovski makes the right adjustments, I think if he gets in there, he does not underestimate Islam Makhachev in any way, shape, or form. I genuinely think that he can go in there and get the job done and shock the world. I think he can. I really do. Now, if Islam can make the adjustments for Alexander Volkanovski and respect him more, be a little more deceptive with the takedowns, combine them more, chain wrestle a little more, maybe work the fence a little more, maybe even have a little bit more patience in certain scenarios, and kind of lead him into traps, get him chasing, get him following, and then shoot for the takedowns, and, understand that Alex is good and he might get back up. He might have to kind of have more of a Colby Covington game plan where he lets him get back up, he takes him back down, he brings him into those deep waters, lets him get back up, takes him back down, enervates him, zaps his cardio. It's going to be interesting, man. I think Alexander Volkanovski can actually get this done. I really do. I think Alexander Volkanovski probably has a better chance of Charles Oliveira than beating Islam, just because he has better takedown defense and he seems to have a better ability to get back up to his feet. So it's going to be fascinating, man. I hope Alexander Volkanovski wins. I think he can win. I would say probably a 60% chance Alex wins. I'd say probably a 40. No, you know what? I would say a 55% chance Alex wins. I'd say a 45% chance Islam wins again. It's going to be fascinating. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. My name's Angelo. This is The Art of Violence. And until next time.